to the Designated Drinker Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I'm your host, Louise Sullis, and with me, as always, is my very, very talented friend who is always teaching me something new, the mixtress DC Gina.
Hi, Louise.
Hi, lovely.
I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, sugar high?
I feel like I'm on a sugar high. It's been a fun long day of like tasty treats.
No, that is a good day.
Yes.
So, you have a career that fills your life with tasty treats.
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
But, not...
And my hips don't lie. I definitely do.
But we all know it can be tough finding a career that actually fulfills your soul or your tummy.
Yeah.
And
maybe I find something to fill my soul, not so much my stomach. That's probably good. It's probably a good idea.
So, balance, right? So according to a recent Harris poll, those polls, only 14% of Americans believe they have a great job and would not change it.
That's
only,
sad.
Yeah, only 14%. That's really low. The poll also found that 59% of middle-income workers were thinking about changing their jobs this coming year. And these job researchers aren't just looking to step up the corporate ladder or find the next level into like something that's a better paying position. Many are just really ready to throw it all out and rethink their careers altogether, change industries, change it all, right? In fact, it's estimated that the average worker will change career fields around 5 times in their lives as they search for a role that truly, fulfills them and not just pays the bills. Oh, that was a high number.
Fuck. I've done none of those.
Well, then that you fell
born in the restaurant. My father told me never to work in the restaurant. I went to college. I went back to the restaurant, and then now here I am. I'm going to die in the restaurant.
So you obviously have the secret. What's that secret that those 14% who are working in a field that they love and a role that just makes their heart sing? What is it? What is it that works for them? And according to this, for many, they simply followed their passions from a young age, which eventually guided them into a rewarding career, which I think is really your story.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
See?
it is. I'm rewarded. I feel rewarded.
Well, I think this also includes today's designated drinker. I think I'm going on a limb, but I'm guessing.
She's way cooler than we are.
Yeah, well, everyone is.
Obviously.
That's such a low bar.
Yeah.
So ever since she was a little girl, she enjoyed going to museums and learning about different cultures. And she is currently the Registrar for the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Latino. She is none other than Sarah Elston herself. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right. Are you one of those 14%ers?
I mean, I'm still, I call myself an emerging museum professional, but I hope so.
Yeah?
I hope I am. I really love what I do.
So what the hell is the Registrar for the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Latino? What does that mean?
So the Smithsonian has 21 different museums in the National Zoo, plus a couple of other non-collecting units. We have the Smithsonian Gardens and other units like that aren't considered a full-on museum. But one of the newest museums is the National Museum of the American Latino, and I am the Registrar. And what a registrar does is I do kind of all of the logistical work behind the objects on display. So I do all the paperwork, I talk to our lenders and our donors, I make sure that we have the rights to kind of have those objects on display, that everybody involved is comfortable, that the objects are safe, that we have, the proper mount, the temperature and humidity, just a lot of logistics. And I work with a lot of great people to make sure that happens.
That's awesome.
It really is.
So you have to touch. So I know it's not so stupid, right? But I don't care.
Yeah.
The greatest thing I feel like would be to go to a museum and be able to touch the things that are behind the glass because
yes.
you've seen them. There's so many things growing up. I've always wanted I just want to touch that Egyptian. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So do you wear the white gloves and touch the object?
Not so much white gloves. I usually wear latex gloves, but yeah, I'm the person who, when loans come in or when new objects come in, I unpack them, I check them, I handle them, photograph them, make sure that they're ready to go on display, and hand them off to our mount maker, who she does a lot more work with them than I do. But then, I help install everything. I help deinstall. I undress and dress mannequins, all that fun stuff. And it is kind of a surreal moment when you get to climb in and be like, ooh,
Did you ever
Look
put
at
on
all
one of
these
the
objects.
dresses?
No, I don't do that.
Even if she did, she would never tell us.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I mean, some of those dresses and stuff that they have in like the different museums and stuff. I have not been to the new museum yet, but I know for sure that like the First Lady dresses, like I realize I might not fit in any of them. 100% though, I would be like, let me just, I don't know. I would try.
Yeah.
I'd be like the Kim Kardashian that rips the dress. You know what I mean? Like she should have never worn the Marilyn Monroe. You know what I mean? Even if you didn't eat for 2 weeks, should not have worn it. I would definitely still be like, okay. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm not allowed in museums after dark. I don't know.
So let's back up for 2 seconds and tell us where did this interest for museums? I know it's from you being a little girl. I only know this from us chatting the other day. Tell our listeners more about that. How did this all begin for you?
Well, I was fortunate enough to live very close to the American Museum of Natural History when I was a kid, and my mom would just kind of take me and my sibling there like basically once a week because we had a family membership, and we were able to go, and I still have old sketchbooks of us like drawing the little dinosaur fossils and stuff. I mean, they look nothing like actual dinosaurs, but I have really great memories of just going through, and especially when you're a little kid and there are these giant things on display and everything is so big and so important and so huge. I've always had that kind of wonder when walking into a museum, and, I was really passionate and good in school. I love learning, and, museums are a great way to continue learning. And I've always been the kind of person who likes to learn a little bit about a lot of different things, which I think is what museums are great for, with all the different exhibit halls, the different topics, the different curator specialties. At the National Museum of American History, there's a curator of beer.
Yeah.
Who's like,
Actually,
I would excel at that job.
we've had her on the show.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
What is
Her name is escaping me.
I can look it up.
Yes.
I've never met her personally, but I know she's worked with us with our unit on a couple of different things before, and it's just like that's just the coolest job. And to be able to help people who are the experts in their field and get to talk to people whose families have been part of this history that we're trying to tell it's incredible. And to get to talk to lenders and see how excited they are to be included in the first exhibit of the National Museum of American Latino has been unbelievable.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
It seems like there'd be lots of tears.
There are some. I've seen a few in person. I know that I'm not in the gallery all the time. I'm usually hiding behind the scenes when we have people in the gallery. But we do have some. We have a lot of emotional stuff in the gallery, and it's the Smithsonian's first gallery dedicated to the Latino history of the United States, and it is very emotional for a lot of people to come in for sure.
To be honored, absolutely.
Yeah.
Teresa McCullough.
That's her.
Yes. I just had to look it up.
And where'd you go did you go to the Designated Drinker Show?
I did go to the Designated Drinker Show. It's amazing how many people we've had on our show. Sometimes I wonder how it's great. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah.
Hi, Teresa, if you're listening. Hopefully she's listening.
I'm sure she is. She is. So you kind of started talking about, is it really like night at the museum? I mean, do things really come alive? Do they run around?
Not so much, but I will say I've had some strange experiences in our gallery because we shut off the lights every night and all the AV.
It's gotta be creepy.
It is creepy. And then you look over and you see a mannequin kind of catching a light weird. Or we have these very directional speakers in our gallery that have storytellers talking, and the audio doesn't go off. Overnight for some reason. And so I'll walk through the middle of the gallery and be like, whoa,
voices.
my goodness, there's people talking at me. Because the directional speakers are very good, so you don't really hear it until you walk right under it. And I always manage to forget when I'm in at 6 a.m. that someone's going to be talking at me just from...
How random is that?
It's so bizarre. And, at first I was kind of like, can we fix that? And now I'm kind of like, I'm not alone. At 6 a.m. like carrying a ladder across the gallery. So it's cool. It's a reminder that there's like actual history being told and being made. So it's a cool experience for sure. But we do have like empty, undressed mannequins kind of tucked into storage, and that is a little bit creepy sometimes. You just see a hand sticking out. Or
I feel like a making of a really good horror movie. Like it's like, oh well,
Yeah, it would be, because there's gotta be creepy moments where you're like,
I know, and I keep thinking about like all the artifacts and stuff. Like, did you ever be like, all right, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna actually use it to bake, like, I don't know, the bread or something? I mean,
from like Julia Childs.
yes, I don't know.
What is one of the coolest things you've been able to touch?
Well, one of the things that we, it took a team to install was this raft that we have on loan from Anacostia Community Museum. It was used by 2 refugees coming over fleeing Cuba.
Wow.
And it's not big enough for 2 people, really.
Yeah.
It's less than 6 feet long, I would say. And we have a case that's very low down to the ground, and it took 4 of us to kind of pick it up and slide it into the case. And, I'm the person examining it before we put it in and make sure we know all the condition and everything. There's no pieces falling off. And just kind of getting to look at this very intimately and read this really long report that a conservator had done already, talking about it and talking about, like, you can just see the human imprint on it. You really can. And you can feel it. And it had a certain smell, like it's styrofoam. So it's, plastic and vinyl and tar and canvas. And it's this unbelievably powerful moment in the gallery. But having it kind of, I was in this giant room that's our like crate room where I was examining it, and just being alone in there with that was it was very surreal and kind of emotional even for me. And I don't have this experience of being an immigrant myself, or I'm not Latina, but I'm 4th generation on both sides of my family, so it's I could connect to it. And I think that's something that's really great about museums, is that you can always find something that you can connect to your own life.
Yeah, I would imagine they have to be very powerful to think about the human condition on that, the fear, all of the things that went into that. Wow, that's really cool.
It's a very powerful moment in the gallery, and it's kind of private in the back, so you really can have a full moment with it if you want. And we have this kind of immersive lighting that makes it look like there's waves, and we have music, and our digital team did a great job, kind of making the environment really feel powerful. And well, that was great. Also, being able to touch it behind the scenes and handle it and really examine it is also awesome.
I bet. That's really cool.
Yeah. When was that made? Like, when was that made?
I believe it was found or confiscated in 1995. Yeah, about 95. Wow. Yeah, so it's
so
been
recent. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like not recent, but really recent. Like it's hard to. It's hard to believe that like that's how people still immigrate to the U.S. Like that's like how it is, or like how, you know what I mean? I don't even know. I feel terrible. Like it makes you feel terrible, and then also like you could do more. Yeah. But I think it's very cool that you got to do that. Yeah. Also, I don't know why I'm getting like emotionally like upset about it, but I think it's gonna stop now.
Well, I think that's the amazing thing about the museums, and the fact that all these things are in our backyard. I mean, we're very fortunate to live so close to these. American treasures, or just historical treasures. Mm-hmm. To be able to go, to your point, you can continuously learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And we rotate objects every 6 months or so there's always new stories coming into the gallery, and we have digital things that we highlight on our social media and on our website. We have a story about rotation specifically, so people can learn more about behind the scenes and the exhibits and things like that. So we always are trying to help educate. We have so much programming done. I know Emily Key's been on here a couple of times, our head of education. She's amazing. And yeah, I mean, our team is really awesome, and we always try to help make sure that if people want to learn, that we have so many resources for them, for sure.
That's cool. You teach everyone how to make cocktails.
I know, but like, that's not as cool. So.
Do you want to teach us something now?
Yeah, I'll teach you a trick. You want to learn something?
Yeah,
actually, we're gonna learn something today.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Is this not heavenly?
Absolutely.
Like the smell, like it's so good, right? You're like, why? What is all these weeds laying out here? Well, normally I don't have Louise come into my tips and trick area, but this time I needed her because they have not invented smell-o-vision. And sometimes I feel like when I'm talking about like esters and aromas and things, maybe everyone is like, this girl is insane because I'm alone on camera. So I wanted.
But you are insane.
I know I am insane. We're gonna give this a little wash, and then we're gonna come right back to it. Is that cool?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So we've given our mint a little wash, and now it's like really beautiful, and we're gonna talk about it, right? Mint, what is it? It's a weed. It's a weed that doesn't really want you to bother it too much. And all the people that had spent a lot of time, taking their mint and like trying to like pick it and make it beautiful is really just a waste of time. Now, my mint has gone to flower, which I purposely do because I have mint areas that I use all this mint in the restaurants. And we're gonna talk about 3 different kinds that you can grow at home, or you could grow at your restaurant, or you could steal from your neighbor. No, don't steal from your neighbors. But it's really kind of interesting, right? So none of the mint here is just your typical mint. This is a chocolate mint. And chocolate mint is not because it smells like chocolate, it's because it has a darker stem.
Oh.
And this is the mint, and the reason why they got its name chocolate mint, because this is the mint that they would make into, like using different, like chocolatiers would use this kind of mint in order to make like your spearmint chocolates or something that's a little bit more delicate and fragrant, right? It's amazing, isn't it?
It's beautiful. I've always wondered why it was chocolate mint.
And it's just really like pungent, like super pungent. And it's because cacao, when you mix it with chocolate itself, it is it can overtake every flavor. So you need something that can stand up against it, and it's really quite lovely, right? So you just like, it's like, I love this. And I also love the tops when they look like this right now, even though people would say you had to clip this before it went to seed. For what I use it for cocktails, I love the seeded. Perfect. Right? Okay, so this
It smells so good.
the opposite of this, which is not, is as strong in the oil category and like how it's like really fragrant. This is a pineapple mint, which is a hybrid, which sounds silly, of apple mint and then traditional spearmint. And it was bred to look like this. This is not naturally occurring.
Oh.
It's kind of, but now it grows wild in my yard, and it's really beautiful. And if you just give it a good smell, the pineapple and flavor is like kind of overwhelming. But you know what I really think it smells like a lot of? Marijuana. And if you've ever like been anywhere where people smell like growing marijuana or any growing fields, like it smells just like that hemp, whatever you want to call it. You
Does
know?
not taste like marijuana smells. Though.
No,
It's
it
insane.
doesn't. No, I really, it's
really good.
But this makes a fabulous, fabulous mojito. And then my favorite, that took me forever, which I think on a couple episodes we've talked about, strawberry mint. This mint now has gone to seed completely. Now the reason why.
This looks like my hair in the morning.
Yes, because I want, I don't know what your hair looks like, when I put it on your head like a chapeau. The reason why I wanted to go to seed is because I'm trying to grow a patch. This mint has been impossible to get growing, but look at these leaves. They are so dark and they're a little wet right now, so you can't really see it. They're full of little hairs and it smells just like strawberries. It's like so beautiful. And if you mix these 2 things together, they make one heck of a delicious mojito, which we are going to make.
Today is a very good day.
It's a good day to be you, for
It
sure.
is.
So until they invent smell-o-vision, I'll bring Louise. I'll see you next time.
Well, I don't think I've ever known so much about mint. I've been exposed to so much about mint.
I don't think you've cleaned so much mint before.
Probably not.
I think that's what it really is.
Oh, but it's really interesting. Like when you talk about like I said, I didn't know where chocolate mint came from. I didn't know why it was chocolate, and then being able to taste those side by side really makes sense about building your cocktail and how some are just like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm here, and others are quiet.
Yeah, and then they're made for the aromatics and, and like what they're used for, and that's how they got their names, and grow more mint. It's great. The pollinators love it.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
And then you have to make cocktails with it.
It doesn't get better than that.
I know.
Good for the bees, good
yeah.
for your cocktail.
Yeah,
Win,
good
win, win.
good to keep rats away if you live in a city.
Mint?
Yes, they hate it.
Oh.
Hate it.
Well, there you go.
Plant more mint.
Okay. All
Plant
right.
more lavender. Okay.
Well, where are they going to go to get that tip?
You're gonna go to designateddrinker.show for the tip. Well, really, it's a know-how today, right?
There you go.
And you can also follow us on Instagram at Designated Drinker. and you see my face, all the mints. And Louise joined me today, so that's actually fun.
I was guest starring today,
I know,
alongside the mint.
I know. Yes, it was Mint and Louise.
The minty Louise.
It was refreshing, if you will.
Well, if you didn't catch any of that, don't worry. Just scroll down into your episode notes. We'll make sure there's links to get you to designateddrinker.show, where we have all of Gina's recipes for the last 6 seasons.
That's crazy.
Our library of libations. And all of our archives, our episodes, in case you want to learn anything more about our guests, like Sarah. And the other thing is going to make sure you have a link straight to NAMAL. Is that right? NAMAL, which Sarah just taught me, is short for the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Latino.
I love that.
Yeah. So make sure there's a link there so they can catch up on what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, this brings us to the end of part 1 already, with the Registrar of the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Latino, Sarah Elston. But if you're anything like me or Gina, and 1 round is just never enough. So go off, top off that drink, and get ready for part 2 of this episode as we continue our boozy banter. And Gina is sure to share a recipe that is museum worthy. You like that?
That was good.
Hurry
That
back.
was good.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a Latino-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, we craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Also in the Missing Link lineup of podcasts is Roger That, a podcast dedicated to guiding you through the haze of dementia, led by skilled caregivers. Now, if you're looking for a whole new way to enjoy the theater, check out Between Acts, an immersive audio theater podcast experience. Each episode takes you on a spellbinding journey through the works of newfound playwrights, from dramas to comedies and everything in between. Find Missing Link's League of Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And while you're there, please don't forget to follow, download, and review the shows. Your reviews help our shows reach new audiences. To find out more about Missing Link, visit missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.